eliminating the barriers and the hindrances, so that you are now free to do all the creative things that make for fortune and lifestyle. Now here's an important time saver. Learn to ask questions. This habit will serve in so many ways. Have you ever talked to someone for an hour and then asked some questions and found out that you just wasted the last hour? Make a note. Almost everything is symptomatic of what's really wrong. Surface details don't usually give us enough information to effectively communicate. So, ask questions before. If John isn't making sales, we say, okay, let's get on him about making sales. But perhaps we should ask, why isn't he making sales? Someone says, he isn't making enough calls. We say, okay, let's get on him about making calls. Well, maybe we should ask another question first. Why isn't he making calls? Well, it's because he isn't getting up early and getting out into the marketplace. We say, okay, let's get on him about getting up early and getting out into the marketplace. Well, perhaps we should ask just one more question. Why isn't he getting up early and getting out into the marketplace? Now we have probably gotten to the heart of the problem. Perhaps it's something personal, problems at home, not his sales skills. The real problems are usually about 3 or 4 questions deep. So if you get good at asking questions, you can save yourself a lot of time by getting right at the heart of the matter when dealing with other people. Otherwise, you tend to waste valuable time just finding out what the problem really is. Now here's the last part of time management. Learn to think on paper. From all of my experience working on many projects and in many countries, one of the major time savers is thinking on paper. It is so important to take things out of your head and put them on paper, then work from the paper. Building your business is a lot like building a house. You take the ideas out of your head, put them on paper, and then build from the plan. We have a saying on this idea: operate from document, not from thought. It's just about over when a person wakes up in the morning and says, let's see, what shall I do today? Too late, right? The best thing you can do now is to take today off and at least plan tomorrow. Let me give you 4 major ways to think on paper. The first is a journal. I spend a lot of time talking about journals in my lectures and programs, primarily because it is such an invaluable tool for the serious student of the better life. A journal is merely a gathering place for all the good information that comes your way, from sermons, from books, from lectures, from business conferences, magazines, thinking time, research, any source of information that you feel is worth keeping. Don't let the good ideas of life escape you. Remember, most good ideas usually only come by once. Get into the habit of capturing them with pen and paper by making daily use of your journal. Now maybe you won't write in it every day, but at least make sure it's with you every day. Here's the second way to think on paper: a projects book. This is simply a ring binder with tabs in it to help you keep track of all the current people and projects you are involved with and need to work on to make all the parts of your life work to the maximum. If you are working with people, give them each a tab in your projects book. Then under this tab, you keep a running account of all the current information you need to know about that person: performance, family, goals, strengths, needs, perhaps even some graphs showing recent progress or comparisons to past performance. Essentially, you make a note of all the information you need to know so that when you sit down to have a meeting with this person, you have all the pertinent facts there before you in order to have a meaningful and productive conversation. Without this habit, it's so easy to take up time talking with someone and get so very little accomplished, because most of the meeting ends up by being devoted to bringing you up to date on the facts you could have already had in your projects book. Now, depending on your particular business or enterprise, you might want to have a tab for each office or each department or each ongoing project. On a more personal level, You might want to have a tab for each family member, or for your personal projects, investments, finances, game plans, and so forth. It's just an effective way to keep all the key pieces of information readily available so you won't have to be continuously hunting through files and drawers for the data. It is the best way I know of to study your business and life projects. A projects book is a guideline for this study. We simply don't study files. They are for storing information. The projects book is for the daily or weekly summary accounting of all the pieces, like a financial statement of your business at the end of the month. In fact, that is one of the sections in your projects book. And another secret. With a guideline to study, it keeps you on good mental track. If you try to study your business and your life in your head, you will for sure miss something, miscalculate, or let your mind go undisciplined in those high thought areas where the ideas and plans and inspiration for fortune lie. It's the organized, better disciplined thought that produces abundance. Everyone is thinking, but mostly about how to get by. I'm asking you to develop these tools and disciplines to think about how to become wealthy and happy, powerful and influential, sophisticated and unique. The next way to think on paper is to keep a day timer, a daily log of your list of things to do and your appointments and schedules. This is where I also keep the agenda for my telephone calls. It becomes a clear and useful record. If you have a business and need to keep track of expenses for income tax purposes, your day timer should also accommodate this need. A day timer is also a good place to record telephone numbers and other key information that you need on a daily basis. Basically, it's a way of keeping a record of your daily activities. Your day timer can also be used as a gathering place for all the details or highlights from your day which need to be logged into your journal or projects book at a later time. It's just an efficient means of keeping track of your days and scheduling your projects and appointments. I strongly recommend that you develop the day timer habit. It only takes a few minutes a day to keep your records up to date, and the time and information you save by using one is massive. Now here's the fourth way to think on paper. The all-important game plan. A game plan can make all the difference in the world in how your months and years work out for you in terms of both accomplishment and satisfaction. Whether you do business at home, down the street, within the community, or around the world, game plans are essential for maximizing productivity. Here's a phrase worth remembering, and that is, don't start the day until you have it finished. That idea is worth the money. A plan before you start. A day is a major piece of the whole strategy of your wealth plan, your success plan. I know it is laborious, but it's labor and effort that pays in cash and accomplishment. And remember, value is on the other side of effort, not hope. Now, if you want to make a lot more progress and income, here's the key. Don't start the week until you have it finished. Of course, it is more challenging to finish a week than to finish a day, but the pay and the results are so exciting, you won't mind the challenge. And if you want to make a lot of money and big success, don't start the month until you have it finished. That one is a stretch, but high in reward. Now, if you want to start walking among the heavyweights, here's the key. Don't start the year until you have it finished. I don't want to kid you. This one is difficult. It's reserved for those few who do and become the superstars in accomplishment, enterprise, wealth, influence, and lifestyle. It's a high road of sophisticated disciplines, but I'm positive you will like the view and the taste and the company. A game plan is merely a spreadsheet for your activities. It can be a game plan for a day, a week, a month, a year, several months, or several years. And a game plan can be for a single project or for a variety of concurrent projects. Here's how it works. On a sheet of graph paper, you make vertical columns for the weeks or months that this plan is to cover. Then, on the left side of the paper, you make a heading called Activities. Under this heading, you list all of the activities to be performed within that time frame. Let's say that part of your business requires providing ongoing training programs for your employees. Under the column marked Activities, you merely list the various training programs you wish to conduct for the next 12 months. Then under the vertical columns for each month, you block off particular periods of time for these training classes. Game plans can be used to help you plan almost any aspect of your business or enterprise. They can also be used to help you organize all areas of your life, from investment plans to reading plans. Game plans are particularly useful when it comes to scheduling family time, vacations, special weekends and trips, and so forth. Everyone who is important to you wants to see where he or she is on your game plan, especially if your business often requires you to spend a lot of time away from home. And remember, there's nothing like a visual plan. It's so much more effective to be able to show members of your family where they are on your game plan, as opposed to merely telling them in conversation. Now, a game plan can be as detailed as you wish, and please be forewarned now that you are probably going to tear up several before you get what you want. This is something you have to work with. Every game plan must be tailored to fit a particular need. The chart you use for your personal plans may not necessarily be suitable as a chart for your business plans. Here is another key benefit of using game plans. If you have your plan in your projects book or up on a wall somewhere, it serves as a constant reminder to get busy on all the activities you have scheduled. Or, if there are a lot of blank holes beside the activities you have listed, your plan reminds you to get busy scheduling them. Now you might well ask, doesn't a calendar do the same thing? Not really. Many of the events on your game plan will be on your calendar, but here are the major differences. First, the visual reminder of the spreadsheet and the list of activities on the left that have no corresponding time assigned to them on the right serve to remind you of what is not yet done. A calendar just won't give you that kind of information. And second, it is so important to take a look at 3 months, 6 months, 1 year at a time for highly effective planning. With a game plan, you can get a sense of the whole picture of the time frame and all of the important activities at one look. To effectively design something, you just have to have a picture of the whole finished project, complete, or as complete as possible. Game plans are both exciting and painful. Painful because of all the things you must get on with and plan, make up your mind about, or give serious thought to. And painful because they illustrate how far behind you are sometimes. But they are also very exciting, both because they help you to foresee how your life, your business, and your family are going to unfold over the coming months, and because they can help you get the job done. It's like looking at the artist's rendering of the finished project. It brings all kinds of feelings to the surface as we see it all take shape and unfold. And it also gives you that incredible feeling of being in charge. You have your life in hand and in order and well designed. Remember how valuable a day is. It is part of your whole life enterprise. A day is like a piece of the mosaic of your life. Fashion it wisely to the best of your genius. For as someone once said, at midnight, the winged messengers come and gather up all these pieces and take them off to wherever the mosaic is kept. And surely on occasion one messenger says to another, wait till you see this one. A well-fashioned day with a beginning and an end, a purpose and a content, a color and a character, a feel and a texture. This well-fashioned day takes its place among the many and becomes a valuable memory and treasure. An equity of experience and spirit and life. And remember, the genius to do all this lies within you. Never forget that. Some people say, if I was as smart as you are, make sure you make the correction in thinking to say, if I had developed as much of my smart as you have. That's it. We're all smart enough. We just have to develop that smart into a plan. Hopefully this program will help. There it is, how to think on paper. With those thoughts and with all the other things we've brought to your attention under the subject time management, let's move on to the next key to wealth and happiness. If you were to evaluate the major influences in your life that shape the person you are becoming, this has to be high on the list. The people you choose to allow into your life. Mr. Schoaf gave me a very important caution in those early days, which I would like to repeat here for you. He said, never underestimate the power of influence. What an important statement. The influence of those around us is so powerful. Many times we don't even realize we're being strongly influenced because it generally develops over an extended period of time. Peer pressure is an especially powerful form of influence because it is so subtle. If you're around people who spend all they make, chances are excellent that you'll spend all you make. If you are around people who go to more ball games than concerts, chances are excellent that you'll do the same. If you're around people who don't read many books, chances are excellent you won't read many books. People around us can keep nudging us off course, a little at a time, until finally, 10 years from now, we find ourselves asking, how did I get here? Those subtle influences need to be studied carefully if we really want our lives to turn out the way we've planned. Now, on this major point, let me give you 3 key questions to ask. This may help you to make a better analysis of your current associations. Here is the first question. Who am I around? Good question. Make a mental study of the major people with whom you most often associate. You've got to evaluate everybody who is within the circle of being able to influence you. So, major question, who am I around? Next question, what are they doing to me? That's a major question to ask. What have they got me doing? What have they got me listening to? What have they got me reading? Where have they got me going? What have they got me thinking? How have they got me talking? And how have they got me feeling? What have they got me saying? You've just got to make a serious study of how others are influencing you, both negatively and positively. Now, maybe the influence of all those around you is okay, but just ask yourself. It doesn't hurt to ask. Who am I around? And what are they doing to me? Now, here's the final question. Is that okay? Maybe the people you associate with and their collective influence is okay. But then again, maybe it's not. All I'm suggesting here is that you take a close and objective look. Everything is worth a second look, especially the power of influence. Positive influence can have an incredible effect on your life, but so can negative influence. Both will take you somewhere, but only one will take you in the direction you truly wish to go. It's so easy just to dismiss the things that influence our lives. The man says, I live here, but I don't think it matters. I'm around these people, but I don't think it hurts. I would take another look at that. I've got a good phrase for you. Everything matters. Now, sure, some things matter more than others, but everything matters. Everything weighs something. So you've got to keep checking to find out whether associations are tipping the scales toward the positive or toward the negative. It doesn't hurt to look, right? Ignorance is never the best policy. Finding out is the best policy. Remember, part of the purpose of this program is to get us to say, the days of kidding myself are over. I really want to know what I have become and what I am becoming. I want to know where my strengths and my weaknesses lie. What has power over me? What's influencing me? What have I allowed to affect my life? Perhaps you've heard the story of the little bird. He had his wing over his eye and he was crying. The owl said to the little bird, "You're crying." "Yes," said the little bird, and he pulled his wing away from his eye. "Oh, I see," said the owl. "You're crying because the big bird pecked out your eye." And the little bird said, "No, I'm not crying because the big bird pecked out my eye. I'm crying because I let him." Hey, it's easy to let influences shape our lives. to let associations determine our direction, to let persuasions overwhelm us, to let tides take us, to let pressures make us. The big question is, are we letting ourselves become what we wish to become? In this most important subject of association, here are some actions you may want to take. First, disassociation. You may, after a study of those 3 questions, who am I around, what are they doing to me, and is that okay, you may come to the serious conclusion that there are some people you just have to break away from. I'm not saying that it's an easy step to take, and it's not to be taken lightly. However, I am saying it may be an essential task. You may just have to make that hard choice not to let certain negative influences affect you anymore. Remember, it could be a choice that saves the quality of your life. The second action you may want to take is limited association. It could well be that you are spending too much time in a certain area of your life with a certain group of people. It's easy to put time and effort in the wrong place. The guy spends 3 hours at the ball game and 30 minutes listening to the sermon. See, that's called out of balance. 30 minutes for spirituality, 3 hours for entertainment. That doesn't weigh well 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when you take a look at the sum total of your values in your life. Here's one of the easy ways to end up with a mediocre average life: spending major time on minor things. Sophisticated people learn to weigh everything before they spend time or money. You've got to weigh before you pay. Whether you're going to spend heavy time or light time, you've just got to weigh. Otherwise, if you're not careful, you can get trapped into spending heavyweight time with lightweight people. Now, it's okay to have casual friends as long as you give them casual time, not serious time. Spend major time with major influence and minor time with minor influence. It's so easy to do just the opposite, but don't let it be said that you fell into that trap. So maybe all you need to do to change some of the influences in your life is not to eliminate them, but merely limit them. Say, I have a good time with these people, but I'm not going to spend days and days with them anymore. I'm just going to cut that down and save some of that time for more major people and more major enterprises. Remember, it's your life. You can spend your time with whomever you want and whenever you want. But you didn't invest in this program for me to kid you. Take a look at your priorities and your values. We have so little time at our disposal. Wouldn't it make sense to invest it wisely? If you have only $100 in your pocket, it's okay to spend $20 for fun and put $80 toward your important values and commitments. But would you be happy reversing those percentages? Better to put the majority of your money where you know it will get you a positive return, rather than put it where the taste is brief and the results are poor. Of course, you must be the judge. You must determine whether the situation and the people call for disassociation or limited association. But remember, if it isn't taking you where you want to be 5 years from now, 10 years from now, now is the time to fix it. The third process is the one I most strongly suggest you begin, and that is called expanded association. That is, spending more time with the right people. People of substance and culture, people who understand philosophy and discipline, people of accomplishment and character. Many years ago,